Hi, everyone. My name is Dr. Erica Cirillo McCarthy. I direct the Margaret H. Ortobody and University Writing Center here at MTSU. And your professor has asked me to create this digital writing workshop to support your larger project in this class. In this workshop, I'm going to talk a bit about the writing process, and then I'll shift gears and talk about best practices for choosing a topic, for researching a topic for this review, and then finally, how the Writing Center can support your success in this class. All right, so let's get started. I'm going to talk about the writing process, and I do understand that many of you are towards the end of your undergraduate career here at MTSU, but I personally think it's always a great time to revisit the writing process and to really develop a firm understanding on how it's a recursive process. Um, Good writing is a recursive process. That means that writers move through this process in a nonlinear way, sometimes returning to steps as necessary. Even prolific writers, right? Like people who write for a living, for example, move through this multi-step process. They write multiple drafts, they get feedback on drafts, they revise their drafts, and then they polish them to get them ready for publication or to hand off to their intended audience. So in the next few slides, we're going to detail each phase of the writing process. So we're starting with the first one, the first phase, pre-writing. Sometimes it's just called brainstorming, and it's the phase where you think about what you're going to write and maybe even sketch out some ideas. Now, this may include some preliminary research that makes a whole lot of sense for your project in this class. It could also mean talking with a friend or peer about a topic or idea. It could also include outlining, listing, or anything else that helps solidify a general idea for writing. Now, some folks prefer more visual approaches, such as mind mapping or webbing their ideas. The point is, this part of the process looks different for each person. For example, I prefer to talk out my ideas with someone else, such as a writing collaborator or a coworker, and others prefer to spend more time pre-writing in their own head, while they're waiting in line at Chick-fil-A, while they're driving to and from work, before they're able to put anything down on paper. And still others prefer a combination. But the point here is to try out different pre-writing approaches to see what works best for you. Now, the next phase is drafting, and this is sometimes the hardest part for writers because getting ideas down on a page can be really intimidating. So at times you might feel that you have this writer's block. Also, a lot of students will proclaim that they procrastinate in order to generate, that they need that last minute pressure in order to come up with ideas. But oftentimes that's just because they haven't tried anything else. So it's important to remember that the first draft should be far from perfect. Drafting should be putting ideas into sentences so that they can be shaped up later. And there's lots of strategies to getting a draft started, such as to start drafting from your best idea to your most important point, even if that won't be the first paragraph. Drafting can also lead to new ideas, and it might help writers to see things in a different way. So it's important for you as a writer to be flexible and open during the drafting phase and don't give up. You have a lot of ideas in your head, and this is a really complex project, and you just want to find the best way to generate ideas for your draft. All right, revising is a critical next step. This should be where you get feedback on a draft to start making large scale changes like adding or deleting content, reorganizing ideas, or adding in more research. Revision may take a bit of time, but it's always worth it in the end. Writers often conflate revising with editing, and sometimes in the revising process, we'll only change a word or a tense here or there during revision. But by doing so, they're missing out on the opportunity to revise holistically, meaning they're missing out on the opportunity to re-see their entire draft. Getting feedback from your professor, a peer, or a writing center tutor at this stage is one useful way to begin those holistic changes. Then we get to editing, and this should become towards the end of the process after all the big changes have been made through revision. You don't want to edit as you go or spend time editing before you do your revision because in the revision process, you might take out whole parts of your paper. So why waste time editing on a sentence level when some sentences might even be taken out? So you want to keep editing towards the end. And that's when you focus on changing, fixing any of your typos, changing a word or sentence structure, adding in your missing commas, things like that, focusing and making sure that all of your formatting, your in-text citations, and your bibliography are pristine and polished. It's helpful at this point to read your draft aloud and work with a Writing Center tutor on editing strategies. Finally, the good part, this is when you hand in your paper to your professor, and this is where you share your final draft with your intended audience. So we draw the writing process as a cycle, but it's important to remember, again, it's not a perfect circle. For example, a writer might get to the revision phase and realize that they have to go back to the pre-writing phase to flesh out some important content. And listen, that's okay. Remember that each time that you follow the writing process, it's going to look a bit different. So now I want to connect the process to your assignment. So let's return to the stage where y'all are at right now. This is the first phase, right? The pre-writing. And that includes choosing a topic. Now, some of you maybe have an idea of what you want to write, or others might still be mulling it over. But I have some tips for choosing a topic that I want to talk a little bit about. So you want to choose a topic that's not too broad and not too narrow for the type of review you'd like to write. If you want to write a shorter review, pick a narrow topic. But if you're going to write a longer review or you'd like to explore a more general area of interest in the field of endocrinology, choose a topic that's wide enough so that you'll be able to find enough articles to discuss. You want to pick something that you're interested in and that you have some experience researching. A review is meant to be a survey of the current state of the field. And the less you know about a field or a topic on the outset, the more work you're going to have to do in order to have an authoritative voice that can provide insight about the research that's been done on that topic. You want to choose a topic that will be interesting to others, whether it's currently receiving a lot of attention, or maybe it's a controversial topic in endocrinology, or it's well established. You want to contribute to the knowledge base and understanding of other scientists, so make sure it centers around a topic that has a good sized audience. I'd like to talk a little bit about the part of the writing process where you're gathering data, and that includes reading. We don't often talk about how writing and reading are connected activities. But when writing a review like the one you're expected to complete for this class, reading the data is the first big task you'll tackle right after choosing a topic. I found some great questions from the University of Michigan's website for writing a scientific review. I chose to call them focus questions because they help you focus on the information necessary to write your review. So some of these questions include, what's the thesis or problem being addressed in this paper? What are the strengths and limitations of the study? How does the author approach the study? And is the author using an assumed theoretical framework for example, psychoanalytic or developmental? And how does this affect the conclusions that they draw? So these are questions that you can ask yourself as you approach each source, and that will help you kind of build what you need to build in order to write a really good review. Here are some other focus questions. How does the author engage with other literature in the field? Did the researchers choose appropriate methods of experimentation and data analysis for the research question? Do you think that the conclusions they draw based on the data they present are valid and reasonable? And then, does this particular research study contribute to the knowledge base of the topic around which you're centering your review? Is it worth including in your discussion? And does it fit your main thesis? So now let's take a look at your assignment sheet. I often tell students to come back to the assignment sheet throughout the writing process. In fact, when I come back later in the semester for another writing workshop focused on revision strategies, we'll all return to the assignment sheet and check our work against the assignment expectations. So some keywords that stood out to me in your assignment sheet is this section here, the purpose of the genre of a review. So, quote, shorter reviews may reflect integration of the latest discoveries in basic research in any area of endocrinology. Such reviews should provide a critical analytical interpretation of the significance of the new information described. So you're not just summarizing these sources that you finding. You're going to provide a critical analytical interpretation. And how do you do that? You use the focus question from the previous slides. They will help you develop your critical language to put into your review. So you move from summary to a critical analytic interpretation. And then, excuse me, I want to talk a little bit about formatting and organizing information. So the assignment sheet very clearly tells you what is expected. The introduction should explain any needed background or historical perspective. So you got to give a little history and context there for your audience. And then the body, the organization of this privileged section of the review is left up to the authors. So you decide what order in which you present your sources, your review to the audience. It doesn't necessarily have to be chronological. I really want you to think thematically on how you can organize your sources and present them to the reader in a logical way. All right, so I'm going to end talking a bit about the Writing Center and the ways in which the Writing Center can support um, your review project here in class. All right, so at the Writing Center, you get to work with tutors who can work with you at any stage of the writing process. They're really wonderful in providing you with tools to gain confidence in your writing, and they do that by offering concrete strategies to help you meet those assignment guidelines, some of which I just went over. And they do this through a collaborative process by providing a peer audience throughout the writing process. You can bring any project to a session, including this one from your endocrinology class, but it could be essays, speeches, and outlines. As you get ready, as you're wrapping up your MTSU career and you're getting ready to graduate, we work closely with the Career Center to help you with professional and business writing, any type of creative writing or longer projects such as an honors thesis or a master's thesis or dissertation, e-portfolio artifacts and content, and multimedia projects. Now, we offer 3 different ways you can meet with a tutor face to face, and that's in Library 362. Live chat, that's like an online Zoom session where you can see and hear your tutor as you work on a shared document. And then document drop, that is where you post your paper and you provide detailed instructions on what type of feedback you'd like, and then that feedback is emailed back to you. So some tips for success is to come early and come often. You can make up to 1 appointment a day. You want to be detailed when you're making your appointment. That means that you want to have access to your assignment sheet and any writing that you've done, and really bring an open mind because tutors are going to try a variety of strategies to help you reach your writing goals. So we ask you to share with us how you best learn so we can really make these sessions useful for you. Um, and then other ways we support writers, we have writing partnerships. That's where you can meet with the same tutor at the same time each week to really maybe hold yourself accountable for this longer semester-long project, and then loads of writing resources online. All right, so listen, you're going to be asked to write in a way that might seem unfamiliar, but I want you to remember that you have support. So please make the Writing Center part of your writing process for any class and for any assignment. And here is the information on how to contact us, how to make an appointment. Please follow us on social media for the latest hours and any kind of updates or events. I want to thank you all for listening, and I want to let you know that you got this, and we are here to support you. Thanks so much.